So we are going to start building on some concepts here to help you learn how to read music, read chord charts, and play by ear and improvise as you're doing that. And we'll start with a few building blocks, walk through scales and chords and left and right hand, and then finish off with some actually working on some songs to show you how it all flows together. So the first step in the entire process is to make sure that you understand scales. If you don't understand scales, then it's going to be hard for you to really understand what you're doing and how that translates into each scale that you may be in, that you may be trying, because not everybody plays in the key of C. So songs are going to be written in different scales, and you need to learn the concepts broadly. So let's start with just scales. So starting with the key of C, it's the easiest because it's all the white keys. This is middle C, and the notes start basically here, which is A, but we can start at C. C, D, E, F, G, and then starts over at A, B, C. Those are the notes. So there's 8 notes in a scale, and every single scale for each of these notes, the 8 notes in each of these, follow this same pattern. Every time you go up a note from white, so moving through these notes like this, that's a half step, what's called a half step. A full step is when you do 2 half steps. So half step, half step. Every single scale follows this pattern. Full step, so 2 full steps, a half step, 3 full steps, and a half step. So 2 full steps, 1 half step, 3 full steps, and 1 half step. So let me show you how that works. So C, half step, that's a full step. That's 1 full step, half step, okay? And then a half step, right? So you did 2 full steps, a half step would just be 1 note up. Half and half, so now you're gonna do three full steps, that's your first one. Half and half, second one, half and half, third one, now half step. So that is the key of C, and every single note on the keyboard, you can do a scale of 8 following that 2 full steps, a half step, 3 full steps, and a half step, okay? So you wanna work on C, and fingering is important too. So most of the scales you can do with the first 3 fingers, starting with your thumb, 1, 2, 3, and then bring your thumb over, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, bring your third finger over. Okay, so there's 8 notes in a scale. So now if you think about it, let's just go to a random one that you don't use most people don't use very often, like a F sharp here. And we're gonna do 2 full steps, a half step, 3 full steps, and then a half step. So this starting here, and we're gonna end here and do a full scale. So we're gonna go 1, 2, so 2 half steps, half steps, half steps, half step, half step. So there's our 2 full steps. Now we're gonna do 1 half step, and then 3 full steps. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then a half step. Okay, so again, on these, you run it a little bit differently. Okay, so you just learn that scale. The ones that I would probably focus on initially is C, G, A, and D. Okay, so those are some of the more common keys that you'll find songs in. So maybe you come down to the D and you start with the D and you'll go a full step, half step, full step, full step, full step, half step. Okay, and that's your scale for D. For G is the same thing. Start here, or you can start here. So full step, half step, full step, half step. Okay, so just work on those scales and just work up the different scales that you want to learn. Okay, and work on those because that is the foundation for everything that we're going to be working on.